Shukri, how did you enjoy your first series as test coach, and what was the most fun part of it?
Yeah, winning is always fun. But yes, I did enjoy it. It was great being able to see how guys react, how guys respond, and the little bit of growth that I felt has happened already. So that was really rewarding from a cricket point of view, and then also just to see smiles on people's faces and a happy change room. I think that's the real fun part for me.
Yeah, yesterday Temba spoke about feeling really backed by you and perhaps not having felt that for some time, and now you're speaking about smiles on faces. Can you describe the state of mind when you took over, and what changed, and what did you have to do to get them to have fun?
Yeah, so look, it's no secret where the side has come from. Australia was really dark, I think, and then also we had to deal with, and I say we because we spoke honestly and candidly about Dean's no longer being the captain, and I felt that's the only way one moves on. You know, when you do speak openly and candidly and honestly, and I think Dean also appreciated that. And then obviously for Temba to step up the way he has, we've also got some key guys in that change room that perform leadership roles without being at the forefront of team conversations and that. So yeah, I really think that the fundamentals and the cornerstones are there for this team to grow from a culture point of view.
Shukri, speaking about Temba, you've probably seen a lot of great innings here at the Wanderers. I think it's easy to forget now, having won about 284 runs, what the situation was, say, at lunchtime yesterday. Just how do you rate that knock by Temba, and how delighted are you for him coming off a pair, which was discussed, and obviously he's always under a lot of pressure?
Yeah, he's always under a lot of pressure. For no good reason sometimes, but I think yesterday's knock was monumental in so many respects. The series was on a knife edge. The West Indies, as they have done throughout the series, seemed to find a way of clawing themselves back into the match. We, on the other hand, often found ways of allowing them back in the game. So when you walked in yesterday and 8 for 2 and then a couple more wickets fell, it was really someone need to stand up and move the series and the momentum of the game in our favour, and ultimately the series as well. And it was Temba. It's a language we use about playing match-defining innings and spells with the ball, and that was both match and series-defining. I think every single body inside there is like so thrilled for him. There wasn't a coach that wasn't happy, and I think I have to commend Mackie for the work that he's put in as well, and all the other coaching staff. But yeah, that was a hell of a knock yesterday against, I must admit, a really skilled bowling unit. I think some people make light of this West Indies side, but they are a really skilled bowling unit, especially their quicks. They've got obviously not all the quicks that they had in years gone by, but when you look at Holder and Kemar Roach, even Myers, like they're highly skilled bowlers. So that was technically a fantastic knock. And then also obviously in terms of defining the series, massive.
Oh, we're going to go Talbot, Hines and Cardi.
Shukri, we saw the way that Vian Mulder reacted to Temba reaching his 100 yesterday, and it sort of gave certainly, I think, us an inkling of the regard that Temba is held in the dressing room. You know, it must be a wonderfully good and important thing for a captain who's new in the job to put up a performance like that in the second game.
Yeah, thankfully the cameras weren't on the coach's room, because there'd have been like a few other wild scenes they'd have picked up. But yeah, look, Temba's held in such high esteem, and even some of the comments in our post-day review, guys stood up and lauded him for where he's come from, all the stick he gets, unnecessarily so, and for him to come out and play like that, and having just assumed the mantle of captain as well, that speaks volumes for the character of the person and the ownership that he's taken of the side, together with some of the other leaders in the group.
If I could just quickly follow up, you know, you're only as good as your your last game or your next game. So how does he keep that gravitas? And even as a team, do you want to bottle this feeling and take it with you?
Well, we've got a 9-month period to bottle it. Hopefully it doesn't expire before then. But yeah, look, it's great. I mean, we're not going to talk about how few test matches we play. It's really for us to, like I said the other day, find novel ways of keeping the growth going, especially with some of our younger players. But I think Temba and the rest of the guys will remember both that knock, that feeling, the way we were today. I thought we were very clinical today in terms of how we went about our business. And yeah, hopefully when we reappear in a few months' time from our hibernation, we can continue that.
Shuks, I suppose I asked this question partly because the quote sticks in my head, but are you happy you unleashed Gerald Coetzee in this series? Just particularly in the context of this morning, we've seen his skill on show throughout the series, but today he showed like spirit, in recovering from chastening start, even though it was a bit gay abandon the guys batted with, but to come back, from conceding almost 8 and over to taking 3 for 77, are you happy?
Yeah, I'm thrilled. I always knew that at some stage we had to, let's keep coining that phrase, unleash Gerald. But also just the way he took on the mantle of being the leading quick with KG. He was at Centurion, he bowled behind KG and Anna and Marco, so it was probably an easier role. But the way he stepped up here, and if you chat to him after the game, he was like really disappointed in his performance. He felt he was better than that. And look, if that's how a young man's going to react, then I think we're onto something good there.
Shuks, like you mentioned, it's going to obviously be a long period now where you guys have no test cricket. But the guys that have now got the momentum, like for example, Tony D'Souza, how are you going to help them keep that momentum until India? Are you planning on sending them maybe to their tours, etc., that are planned? Yeah,
well, hopefully we'll get confirmation of that pretty soon. And then obviously guys like Tony and maybe 1 or 2 others, if and when those tours happen, they'll definitely be on those tours. Hopefully they'll get a spell in the UK as well. And like I said, because we find ourselves in such a unique situation, we've got to come up with some novel ways of ensuring that the guys get better and get accustomed to pressured environments. So we're going to have to put our thinking caps on. I'll take a couple of days off and post the braai or 2. I'll put that thinking cap on and make sure that we get stuck in properly in the winter.
Shuks, the one-day match, you're not in charge of that, but you've gone well with the boys in green and now the boys in white team. Can you miss it not being with the boys, and do you have any influence on Rob and how he goes about his business?
Okay, yeah, I'm a bit of a sounding board for Rob. I mean, you would have seen Rob in and out the change room there throughout the last couple of days, and we've got a great relationship like that. He relies a little bit on my experience. I mean, we're not going to say old, so and yeah, so there's a constant change of ideas. Whether I miss it, no, I've got to say no, because it's not my gig. But it'll be great to watch that team grow as well, because I think we've got the makings of a really good one-day side there.
And just to follow up, from the outset it was about positive intent and trying to play positive brand of cricket. How far do you think, despite the series, how close are you to playing the brand of cricket that you want to play?
On the bowling front, I think we achieved a lot. Playing our 4 quicks at Centurion and the way they went about their business. Yeah, it was always a bit of a talking point with playing the 2 spinners, and I must add, the one downside today is Keshav's injury. And I thought we always felt they were going to come into their own in the last inning. So from a bowling front, great. Look, from a batting side, there's a lot of and I think I need to make this point. We don't have the Graham Smiths and the Hashim Amlas and the A.B. de Villiers and the Jacques Callises in this unit. So we've got to find different ways of skinning this cat, and it's great that we've got 2 Centurions in this series. We passed 300 a few times, which hasn't happened in the recent past. And like I say, against a skilled bowling unit like the West Indies. Conditions probably didn't allow, and then also our inexperience. But the growth is there. I think once we settle as well, because as players, they also, to expect them to go out and do things a certain way with they're not being sure what's coming next, because we changed the team a couple of times. So they always felt that maybe the spotlight was on them and they were under the microscope. But I'm happy with the growth. I'm happy that those boxes that have been ticked, like I spoke about, milestones, is still a big thing for us. And hopefully in a couple of months' time, we'll see more growth.
Shukri spoke to the West Indies coach about sort of like how he keeps the names interested in Test cricket, and obviously the contract list was announced today. There's some like red ball only guys. What are your concerns, if any, about the fact that there's a big break, lots of leagues? Do you still sense that people are very passionate about the Test cricket? Or something?
Without a shadow of a doubt, I can say categorically and emphatically that the boys want to play Test cricket, every single one of them. And I think we've just got to be very smart in the way we do things. We had our meetings with all these players prior to the contract list being announced, and it's come out, every single one of them they want to play more Test cricket, and they're committing themselves to playing Test cricket. And then obviously we've just got to allow them and manage them properly through all the leagues, make sure, and that's why when players get rested, a bit like it was done in this Test match and in years gone by, I think we rested super fast bowlers then already, to ensure longevity. So we've got to take all of those things into account to ensure that the players and their well-being is uppermost.
I'm going to take one from Onwa, then Stu, then to wrap up. Stu, your guest, then to wrap up with Kaniso.
Coach, obviously a great feeling to win your Test series here at home. Over the two matches, we've actually seen some great performances, but we've also seen some moments of real concern. At any point, are you worried a bit about the stability of the batting unit?
No, I'm not. And that, you might be saying, well, based on what do you give an answer like that? I think I'm a lot wiser now than I was a couple of weeks ago in terms of how we want to go forward and whom we want to go forward with. We also realize that there's work that needs to be done, and I think we're going to have some really good people to work with these guys. So come our next Test series, we'll find a stable unit. We'll find a unit that security is probably not a word that one uses often, but we will create an environment where they know that they've been given opportunities to thrive. And yes, I'm very comfortable where we're at the minute. Really comfortable.
Shukri, congratulations on the Test series success. Just talk us through the happiness that you have with the spinners and also I'll call it a slight concern, but the real concern of Keshav's injury.
Sorry, I didn't hear the full question, Kaniso.
Just talk us through the happiness that you saw from the spinners' performance, especially in the second innings, and the concern with Keshav's injury.
Let's deal with the second one first. Yeah, Keshav injury was probably the one downside to today. It was, he's undergone an MRI scan. We're obviously waiting the findings of that, but it doesn't look good at first glance. So we'll just have to wait for that. I thought it would spin more, but we soon realized that it was a new ball wicket. It was a new ball for both the spinners and the quicks, because when that ball got softer, very little happened. So it was always the plan that in the second dig we were going to give Simon the new ball and attack with KG and Gerald for a short burst from the one end, and then Keshav to follow. So and those are, some of the nuances that you've got to pick up as the game unfolds, and you've got to be alert to that. The conditions change, but it was definitely a new ball wicket, and so when the conditions were in their favour with the new ball and the wicket, our spinners performed brilliantly. You saw both Simon and Kesh operate just before lunch, so I'm really happy with where that is. But there's always room for growth as well in both the players themselves and the spin pool as a unit.
Great, thank you very much, everyone.
Happy days.